I have tried to start a small shop before. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And every time I did the same thing. I researched everything, I watched dozens of videos about other people starting their shops, I bought the nice premium supplies and materials, the cute packaging, and I even made actual products. And then I stopped. And it wasn't because I lost interest or because the products weren't good enough. I just got scared. Scared of being seen, of people having opinions, scared of putting something I made into the world and letting it be judged. So this time, I'm trying something very different. I'm not building the perfect shop or waiting until everything feels ready. I'm just trying to start, no matter how messy it feels. I've wanted to have a little shop for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was play store. I'd set up a pretend register, arrange things on shelves, make price tags, and convince my family to come shop. And I loved it. I wasn't dreaming of becoming a big entrepreneur. I just liked the idea of making things and sharing them with people. Not much has changed. I've wanted to start a small shop for years. My first attempt was in 2019. The problem is, I've also spent all these years stopping myself from doing it. There was always an excuse. The first time I tried starting a shop, I researched. A lot. I watched video after video about how to start. Videos on how to make products, videos on how to best package them, how to photograph them, how to ship them, how to brand them. I made prototypes. I tested the prototypes. I abused the heck out of them to test durability. I made the scrunchie in 2019, and it has survived years of regular use and more accidental trips through the washing machine than I can count. The products were fine. Actually, they were pretty great. But I never even got to listing stage. I stopped before anyone could see them. The second time, I decided I needed to be more legitimate. So I bought a domain, I built a website, I paid for hosting, I paid for all the little monthly fees that come with having a real business. And then, I never told anyone it existed. I didn't do any marketing, I didn't do a launch, no social media, nothing. The third time, I convinced myself that what I really needed were better tools. Yeah, I see you. I know I'm not the only one. So I bought an expensive printer, more nice supplies, an iPad for drawing, more materials, because clearly spending more money meant that this time would be different. Spoiler alert, it's not. And somehow I still ended up in the same place, with products sitting in boxes, photos sitting in the folder on my laptop, just waiting for a version of me that was ready. I wanted things to be perfect, or at least that's what I told myself. But I think that what I really wanted was protection. Protection from criticism, from embarrassment, protection from someone seeing something I made and deciding it wasn't good enough. I wanted to look legitimate. I wanted to look like a real business, not just some random person making things in her spare bedroom. Which I absolutely was, by the way. And funny enough, I love to buy from businesses like that myself. So, what was my problem? Nobody was stopping me from starting, except me. I think part of the problem is that I both love and hate being seen. When I was younger, I had a much bolder style. I wore things that stood out, things that got comments, things that turned heads. And I loved it. It was fun and I got to meet like-minded people. But somewhere along the way, I started shrinking, little by little, year by year. And I found myself choosing clothes that blended in, colors that blended in, versions of myself that blended in. Because blending in feels safe. If nobody notices you, nobody can judge you, nobody can reject you, and nobody can point and say, that's not very good. And I think that's what this has really been about. Not scrunchies or stickers or websites. It's being seen. Because once something exists out in the world, people get to have opinions about it. Some people might love it, some people might hate it, some people might not care at all. And somehow all of those possibilities feel extremely scary. I'm afraid of failing publicly. I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm afraid that what I make won't measure up to someone else's work, even though I'm not entirely sure whose. And if I'm being honest, I think a part of me is also afraid of succeeding, of creating something people might actually want, of suddenly having more responsibility than I was prepared for, more expectations, pressure, more eyes on me. So for years, I've stayed in the safest place possible, researching, planning, and preparing. Because as long as I was preparing to start, I never actually had to risk being seen. So this time, I'm doing things very differently. Or at least I'm trying to. I've already done the research, years of it. I've already bought the supplies, the materials, the packaging, the equipment. At some point, I realized I don't actually need anything else to begin. I already have more than enough. The only thing I've purchased for this attempt is a silhouette portrait, mostly because the Cricut I had before drove me absolutely insane and I sold it years ago. Other than that, I'm using what I already have. The things that have been sitting in drawers and on shelves and in boxes. Things that were just waiting for me to be ready to use them for their intended purpose. And this time, I'm not starting with a fancy website. I'm not paying monthly fees for a dedicated shop platform. Those platforms are great, and maybe someday I'll get there, but I'm not there right now, and that's okay. Instead, I'm launching on Ko-fi. No monthly subscription hanging over my head, and no pressure to make enough sales to justify the cost. Just a place where my creations can exist. And I think that's the biggest change. I'm not waiting until everything is perfect. I'm not waiting until I have X amount of products, or a complete brand strategy, or a beautifully curated collection. I'm starting with what I have today. Because the truth is, I could spend another 3 years researching and preparing, tweaking things that nobody but me would ever notice. Or I can finally let these things exist. So that's what this shop is. Just a collection of things I wanted to exist. Nothing more, nothing less. None of this feels particularly dramatic. I'm sitting in my room, I'm drawing stickers, I'm sewing scrunchies, but somehow it feels big. I think it's because for years I convinced myself that starting would be this huge moment, that one day I'd feel ready, I'd feel confident, like a real business owner. But that's not what's happening. I still feel incredibly nervous. I still wonder whether people will like any of this. I still catch myself comparing my work to other people's, and I still think about all the things that could go wrong. I just can't help it. The difference is that this time, I'm making things anyway. For a long time, I thought confidence came first. Then you start. But I think it's the other way around. I think maybe you start first, and confidence catches up later. Because I surely don't feel fearless. I don't feel completely ready. And I'm not even certain that this will work. I just feel ready to stop being afraid. And with that, if you would like to see a collection of things I wanted to exist in the world, the collection of things I wanted to make, I'll leave a link to the shop below. It's still a work in progress. In fact, my only rule was to open it before it felt finished. Because I know that if I waited until everything was perfect, I'd probably still be waiting. So please pardon the mess if you see it, but maybe take it as a reminder for your own life too. Do something that scares you a little, something that makes you nervous, something that makes you excited, because I bet you'll still be nervous or a bit scared a year from now, 2 years from now, perhaps even more so than now. So just start small and see where it goes. I'm still far from fearless, but for the first time in a long time, I'm starting anyway.